The subway was cold that morning, one of those New York mornings when the city feels too busy to notice the people it breaks. Trains screamed through the tunnels, boots splashed through puddles, and music from a dozen buskers bled into one endless noise. But in the middle of that chaos, on the corner of 34th Street Station, a boy's voice rose above it all, fragile, pure, and trembling like a candle in the wind. He was no older than 12. His clothes were thin and frayed. His shoes were 2 sizes too big. A small cardboard sign leaned beside him. Greater than, I sing for my mom in heaven. Most people walked by. Some dropped coins without looking. But anyone who stopped, even for a few seconds, could feel it. His voice wasn't the polished tone of a choir boy or the power of a star. It was something else, something aching, something real. The boy's name was Noah Carter. Noah had been living on the streets for almost a year. He'd lost his mother the previous winter when pneumonia took her after weeks of sleeping in an abandoned shelter. They had come to New York hoping for work and a new start after his stepfather disappeared with everything they owned. But the city wasn't kind. When she died, Noah was left with nothing, no family, no home, not even a photograph. All he had was her voice in his memory, humming him to sleep. She used to sing him lullabies when they couldn't afford dinner, telling him that songs were prayers that didn't need words. Greater than, even when no one hears you, she'd said once, brushing his hair from his eyes, God does. So Noah sang. Every day. Rain or shine. He sang for spare change, but more than that, he sang for her. The song he wrote himself, a shaky tune about love and loss, became his way of keeping her alive. Greater than, Mama, can you hear me from the stars above? I'm still your boy, still singing our song of love. The world's so cold, but your voice stays near. Mama, I still feel you here. Some mornings, he barely had the strength to sing. Hunger made his head spin. But whenever he closed his eyes, he could almost feel her beside him, whispering, keep going, baby. One evening, as commuters rushed home through the underground tunnels, a woman in her mid-30s stopped. She wore a tailored coat and held a phone to her ear, clearly in a hurry, but the sound of Noah's trembling voice froze her mid-step. Her name was Rachel Moore, a music producer who'd spent years chasing commercial hits and auto-tuned perfection. But what she heard in that subway wasn't perfection, it was truth. She lowered her phone slowly. Her eyes filled with tears as Noah hit the final line. The crowd around him had gone still, their faces softening. A man who'd been scrolling through his phone looked up, transfixed. A teenager removed her earbuds. Even a police officer paused mid-walk. When the song ended, there was silence, then, applause. Real, unfiltered applause. Rachel knelt beside Noah. That song, she whispered, did you write it? He nodded shyly. For my mom. She's in heaven now. Rachel's throat tightened. You have a beautiful gift. Noah looked at her, his eyes tired but kind. It's not a gift, he said softly. It's just how I talk to her. Rachel didn't know what to say. She reached into her wallet and handed him a few bills, but Noah shook his head. I don't sing for money, he said. I sing so she can hear me. Tears welled up in Rachel's eyes. She left quietly, but that night she couldn't sleep. His voice haunted her. It wasn't just a song, it was a cry from a broken heart that refused to give up. The next morning, Rachel returned to the subway with a small team and recording equipment. She found Noah sitting in his usual spot, trying to stay warm with a torn blanket. Noah, she said, gently, would you let me record your song? I want the world to hear it. He hesitated. Will it make my mom hear me better? Rachel smiled sadly. Maybe, sweetheart. Maybe everyone will hear her through you. They set up a small microphone. The trains roared. The city buzzed. But when Noah began to sing, the noise disappeared. His voice echoed through the tunnel, carrying a kind of purity no studio could ever replicate. Rachel uploaded the recording online with a simple title. Greater than, homeless boy sings for his late mother, you will cry. Within 24 hours, it had 1 million views. By the end of the week, 50 million. People from all over the world wrote to him. Messages poured in. You reminded me to call my mom today. Your song helped me forgive myself. I haven't cried in years until now. TV networks called. Charities offered help. A GoFundMe started by a stranger raised more than $200,000 in days. When Rachel told Noah, he didn't smile. Instead, he looked up at the gray sky and whispered, "Can you believe it, Mama? They heard me. Dash dash dash." But not all attention was kind. News crews swarmed him. Reporters asked questions he didn't understand. Some people accused Rachel of using him for fame. The pressure overwhelmed him. He disappeared for a few days, back to the alleys where no cameras could find him. Rachel panicked, driving through neighborhoods for hours until she finally found him sitting by the East River, singing softly to the water. "Why did you run?" she asked gently. He shrugged. "I don't like all those people watching. They don't really hear me, they just listen." She sat beside him. "Maybe. But what you did changed something, Noah. People are kinder now because of you." He turned to her, his small voice trembling. "Then maybe that's what my mom wanted." Dash dash dash. That night, Rachel made a promise. She wouldn't let his story become another viral sensation forgotten in a week. She contacted an adoption agency and started the paperwork to become Noah's legal guardian. When she told him months later, Noah cried for the first time in front of her. "Why?" he asked. "I don't have anything to give you." Rachel smiled, pulling him into her arms. "You already gave me everything I didn't know I needed." Dash dash dash. Life didn't change overnight, but little by little, it became better. Noah went to school for the first time in years. He had a bed, warm meals, and a piano of his own. He kept singing, but now, the songs weren't just for his mother, they were for everyone who'd ever lost someone and still dared to love. Rachel helped him release an album called Songs for Mama. All profits went to shelters and orphan charities across the U.S. One track, his original Subway song, won a humanitarian music award. On stage, wearing a small suit and clutching the trophy, Noah said softly into the mic, "Greater than, this is for my mom, and for everyone who thinks they're invisible. You're not. Someone hears you." Dash dash dash. Years passed. Noah grew up, his voice deepening but never losing that tender ache that made millions fall silent. He became known not just as a singer, but as a symbol of hope for homeless children around the world. He often visited shelters, sitting on cold floors with kids who reminded him of himself. "Don't stop singing," he'd tell them. "Even if no one listens, the world still needs your song." Dash dash dash. One winter morning, a decade after that Subway day, Noah performed at a massive charity concert in Madison Square Garden. Thousands of lights flickered across the crowd as he began the song that started it all. Halfway through, he closed his eyes, and for a moment, the noise faded. In the quiet, he could almost hear her again, that soft voice saying, "Keep going, baby." Tears streamed down his face as he sang. The final verse. "Greater than, Mama, I'm singing to the stars again. Your boy is strong, your love won't end. Every heart I heal, every soul I mend, is me singing to you again." The audience rose, thousands crying openly. Rachel, now older, watched from backstage, whispering through her own tears, she'd be so proud. After the concert, Noah stood alone on the rooftop overlooking the glittering city. Snow began to fall, soft and silent. He lifted his face to the sky, eyes closed, and whispered, "I made them listen, Mama." And somewhere in that endless sky, he could almost swear he heard her humming back. Moral: no voice is too small to change the world. Even in the darkest corners, love can find a melody. And one song sung from the heart can awaken humanity's compassion.